And the Bigfoot, sometimes he'll scream, sometimes he'll whoop, other times he'll be screaming like a drunk lady. We hear it a lot on the Navajo Nation. When we hear it, I have to chase everybody inside and turn off the lights.
Out in the woods, shadows creep slow. Footprints deep where no man should go. Cold winds howl through hollers and brooks. Whispers of Bigfoot in the way it looks. Myths, monsters, and bullets in the night. Under a pale moon, strange glowing light. Truth out there like a blade it cuts. Myths, monsters, and bullets run amok.
And welcome back for part 2 with Don Yazzie from Don't Whistle at Night podcast. If you haven't yet, you need to go back and listen to part 1 because this conversation is going to pick up right where the part 1 left off. Once again, I do want to thank everybody for all the subscriptions, the likes, the comments, the shares. It means so much to me. And if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button. Real quick before we start the episode, don't forget, I'm going to be at the Ohio Bigfoot Jamboree October 4th, 2025 in Ada, Ohio. It's put on by Cryptids of the Corn. Nevermore Hollows is going to be there. Drunken Cryptids, Chumming with the Spirits. Come out and see us. It's going to be a great time. It was a great time last year. I think you'll enjoy it. And before we start the show, if you have a paranormal encounter you'd like to share, you can email me at mythsandmullets@gmail.com. Leave me a comment on one of my videos. Follow me on Facebook and shoot me a message over there. And with that, let's start the show.
You know, and it's going on right now. I have family that are being tormented by these people that know black magic, horrible magic. They obtain that magic at a horrible cost, that cost of their loved one that they love the most. They have to trade their blood for it.
So this happens to you when you're 6?
Yeah. And my grandmother, the third, fourth day, my grandmother, while I was sleeping, you know, I managed to finally get some rest. She picked me up, placed me into another room, and she laid down where I was laying. And she was going to sleep, and she always curled her hair. She had really curly hair. And she felt someone touching her hair, and she jumped up, ran straight to the light switch, turned on the light, turned around. It was one of our well-known medicine man's grandson, Spider-Man, up on the corner, the roof, like Spider-Man. Yeah, so she grabbed the broom, went over there, smacking the crap out of him. She chased him out. What are you doing in here? And 3 days later, he and my grandmother died. And I stopped having them bad nights.
So the medicine man's grandson was the Skinwalker, or was he there trying to help? Well, I don't understand.
He was probably, the Skinwalkers, they teach their family members, they keep it in the family, they pass it on to their grandson. So he was there for some reason, probably trying to get my hair, or maybe placing another curse on me or something. My grandmother chased him out. He came off from the corner of the roof, fell down to the ground, chased him out the house.
And then 3 days later, both died.
Yeah, they both died. Yeah, this local medicine man's actually famous, a well-known medicine man.
Really?
Since he passed away, his family increased. Before he passed away, he had hardly any family. So the word was that he's giving his own children, his own grandchildren, great-great-grandchildren, so he can be here longer. No one knew his actual age. He was that old. Whenever he would go into a grocery store, it would be like departing the Red Sea. Nobody didn't want to be near him. No one didn't want to be close to him. And you have all these Anglo tourists like, look, everyone's revering him. They respect him.
No, we're
No
just
way,
afraid
man.
of him.
Yeah, no way. Don't let him touch you, man. Shoot, you know. I'm not talking.
Wow.
I'm not talking bad of my people, but there's some that do good work. I'm sure that do work for the good, but there are some out there that do bad stuff. And even the Navajo Nation police officers know who they are. Even the FBI know who they are, but they won't touch them.
Really?
Really, really unjust stuff. Really, really, it's messed up what's going on the Navajo Nation. It's really messed up. They're afraid of people like that on the Navajo Nation. They know they do black magic. And
Wow.
when the family would capture a skinwalker, they would tie them up themselves. And sometimes when the police would come, they wouldn't touch them. They'd be like, "You throw him in yourself." They'd take him all the way to the jailhouse and have that person take him into the jail himself. Yeah, but now I hear that there's the Navajo Nation police has a skinwalker deal or paranormal sect now. I don't know how true that is, but I know we have the Men in Black on the Navajo Nation.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, they'll scoop up Bigfoot's dead body. Yeah, they like to shoot down those UFOs. They have like a little electromagnetic gun, like it looks like a little plastic gun. Then those those UAPs, UFOs, they'll crash and they'll scoop them up right away. But the Bigfoot's hard for them to cover up because his body always hangs out that giant black box. People would see it.
Now,
I'm just going everywhere here on you.
no,
My
no.
bad.
I'm like, I've got this part of me says, man, I gotta go. I gotta go visit. But then this part of me over here says, if I go, I may need like depends because I don't know if I can control my bodily functions.
Yeah, yeah,
And
we'll find we'll
I only
find
want
out
to
about that.
visit during the day.
Oh man, that's boring. No, just kidding. There's a lot of there's a lot of good things to do during the daytime, but at nighttime, that's where all the fun is. Like, there's a lot of times where like my family members, sometimes be hit and miss. I'll be out spotlighting all night, and then sometimes I'll be too tired to go spotlight and just go to sleep. And one of these nights, I wasn't there, and my family they seen a giant dog man that was taller than a cedar tree bending over the tree. They shined a light at him. They seen a huge black werewolf deal staring at them, cheese smiling, and they're seeing the slobbering dripping from his mouth. And they would have to hightail it, and this thing was running after them, like throwing dirt, throwing rocks at them. Meanwhile, the other families at the tent, and this thing is screaming at them. There's another one, like the dogman type Bigfoot. Those are the ones that scream a lot when they're coming towards you. And the Bigfoot, sometimes he'll scream, sometimes he'll whoop, other times he'll be screaming like a drunk lady, like a drunk lady screaming bloody murder. Oh, it's crazy. We hear it a lot on the Navajo Nation. When we hear it, I have to chase everybody inside and turn off the lights.
Man, you're making it hard for me to choose whether I want to come out there or not.
Oh man, if you have a 4x, I got the spotlights, I got my thermal, I got my night vision, I got my, yeah, I just need time. This coming August, I'm gonna be going around with a couple of producers. They wanna see all kinds of things that I've seen. Like, there's things that I still can't explain. Like seeing a gigantic portal open up in the sky. Look like it would be 3 o'clock at night. Just imagine it like a giant window, just open it up, and then there's daylight coming through, and you're like, "What in the world?" And then someone closes it like they're closing the window slow, and they're like,
Real.
"What in the world? Is this the Truman Show?" That type of deal. I'm not alone. Thankfully, I wasn't alone. My brother-in-law, we're driving up the hill. We seen that close. Hey, he's like, "Yeah, did you see that?" He's like, "Yeah." What was it? I don't know. Okay. It's like,
I don't
you
know.
know,
Let's just keep going.
yeah. As long as you've seen it, I'm not alone. That's all I can say. I'm not crazy. You just keep going.
Wow.
Like I also seen a couple of abductions too. My wife is driving my 2-year-old child. I caught the tail end of it, of the UFO, and it's going to be on this documentary that's going to be coming out with William Jevening. They're going to add that little UFO footage that I captured on my poor quality cell phone. But that's another story.
Let's wait
Uh,
for the documentary to come out.
oh no, it's okay. It's okay. We can promote it, telling the
Okay.
story.
Okay.
It was just a quick little video of that UFO, but the documentary is mainly about Bigfoot.
I love me
Yeah,
some Bigfoot.
it's gonna be a good documentary. We got vocals. See, we got a couple of nests we found. A lot of witness stories. It's all scary stories. It's this guy's a scary guy for sure. He likes to creep on you like this for sure. Okay, so where are we at now? Let's get back.
Let's talk about your Bigfoot.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, we got that Skinwalker out the way. Okay, now we're at 16 around there because I was in football sophomore year. 16. Yeah. Uh, we got done playing the game, and I caught a ride back towards the community I was staying at with my assistant coach, and we're racing with these kids that were from another community that we just played against. And my cousin was in his souped up truck, and I was with my assistant coach. He was in his '76 Chevy Nova. It was his project car. How I know it was his project car. One, it was old. Two, the seats wasn't bolted down. There was no seatbelt. Only his. He had the strapping seatbelt on. He's looking at me like, "What's wrong with you, my fool? You need to complete your car here. I'm gonna die. You better not wreck." So, smart guy, young adult, right? We're racing down these highways going 99 miles an hour. Flying. I'm just like, boom, 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 boom. Like, oh man. So yeah, so this car full of girls comes up right next to us, and you know we're staring at each other going down this hill. Forrest Gump, remember the other side of the hill where Forrest Gump runs up? He's like, "I'm tired. I want to go home now." So we're coming down the other end of that hill. We're coming down that we're gonna go up that side,
The
right?
the actual
Yeah,
from the movie. Okay.
yeah,
Cool.
because that's where I'm from, right? That area, my family land. So
Okay.
we're flying down, coming down that hill, and my relative lives right there, right? And our family have a lot of beef. Like my family says they're skinwalkers, their family says they're skinwalkers. So there's beef there. Long before I arrived. So the turnoff to his house is right there. We're coming upon it, and we're looking at this car full of girls, and we got to the bottom, and I started making my way. Looking, like looking to the front. I was turning my head like this. As I was turning, I seen on their headlight a blanket, a bottom of a Navajo blanket. Bottom of a Navajo blanket. And by the time he went over their car, I seen a man sitting on a blanket, sitting Indian style, with his legs folded, his back straight, and he had a blue flannel on that was striped like a Wrangler's flannel on, and a blue jeans on Wranglers. You can tell it's Wrangler's jeans on, legs folded, and he had two things in his hand. I don't know what he had in his hand, but he was sitting up straight, and he was sitting on the blanket, and this blanket was right above our cars. It was a little high up. And by the time he got over our car, he was right on our hood, like right there. And he had a trail full of dirt. And the dirt hit the car, rocks hit our windshield, and he flew by. And then our back passenger tire exploded. Boom! We lost control of the car. We're everywhere. The car full of girls kept going. They never turned around and stopped and asked how we're doing. We're
They
all
said,
over the car.
"Surprise, guys! I just saw some guy on a flying carpet."
I wonder if they did. I wonder if they did. They kept going. They never turned around, and we're all over the road, all over. It's like 16. This is how I'm gonna go out.
Yeah, in a
Everyone
car
dies.
with the seats not bolted down, and
Yeah, it's like wow. Everyone in my family dies in a vehicle accident. So I'm like wow.
maybe you should just start using horses.
Right, right. I love horses.
Me
Yeah,
too.
so they're good. They're good. They're really mind speakers. So yeah, the back tire, the my assistant coach got control of the car, and you feel it's flat for sure, 100% for sure, right? We got off the highway onto the dirt road, and you know we stopped. I hopped out, opened the door. I got to the tire, and the tire was perfectly fine. I kicked it 3 times, and the assistant came around. He looked at me and he kicked it, and we're looking at each other, and we both looked around in the darkness. This was probably like 12 at night, maybe 1 at night, and we both, we just jumped in the car and we're quiet all the way. He dropped me off at home, and
So
we
after
never
that,
spoke
the
about it.
tire, like there's no more of the noise, there was no more of the thumping or anything.
It was completely fine. Nothing was
What?
wrong with it. Yeah, tell me about it. Tell me. See how you see that? That's what I've been dealing with my whole life. I can't explain that. It's just witchcraft. Someone was trying to kill me, my own family.
Holy cow! Wow. So you get attacked when you're 6. You see another one when you're 13. Now we're at
16.
16, and they basically try to run you off the road.
Yeah,
But I don't even know how this could get. Like, I'm afraid to find out what the fourth one is.
man. There's a lot of stories, and a lot of them aren't pretty. It just gets weirder and stranger and scarier. I don't know what, for hearing these stories and experiencing them as a child and growing up, it should deter me to stay away from it. But it always drawed me in, deeper. Like why is this thing going on? Why? And I started, putting myself out there, running around at night, like, as a high school kid, I couldn't sleep at night. I'd be out running the dirt road, highway, from 12 o'clock to the sun comes up. I'd be running, I couldn't sleep and not even scared of what's out there, and, leads into this, my Sasquatch encounter. That community, I'd be running them dirt roads with no light. I know all these roads by heart, all these dirt roads to stick to, I even ran past some donkeys a few times. Pitch black, I had my headphones on running, just seeing a really dark figure right here. I take off my headphones and it's a donkey making his screams. I'm like, whoa, man, I just went right past you, my bad. Keep running, Then I can just barely see the stars. So, the same area, like about 30 minutes outside of my community, 40 minutes, I had some family members coming from off the reservation, and they got in late, like around 12, and they're like, let's go somewhere, let's see something. I want to see something. I want to see a skinwalker. I want to see something. And I was looking at him. I was like, man, you're gonna regret it. You might get what you're asking for, but let's go. So I got ready, and there's my uncle, two of my aunts, one, two, three. Wait. There's 7 of us. So there's 7 of us, and we started off, and we're just talking, joking. My uncle had the only light. It was a really big, nice flashlight. This was 2007, around there. I didn't have a cell phone. He had that old phone, that Droid, that old phone. So
Droid. That's the one you
yeah,
started up.
yeah, the very first one. Yeah, he was. Yeah, yeah. Poor quality that phone was. Um.
Not at the time
So
though. At the time, that was top of the line.
yeah, at the time, yeah, you're right. You're right. So yeah, we were walking, talking, and we're making our way to the San Juan River. We just heard some screaming, some shouting and yelling. it sounded like a drunk person, like an intoxicated person trying to yell at you, trying to say let's fight, but he's slurring his words. Or it sounds like a special person, like, but a woman, but loud and unnaturally loud. You had all that being thrown at you, and the best audio I have ever heard on that matched it was Ron Moorhead Sierra sounds.
I was just getting ready to ask you about that, if that's what it was.
Yeah, that dude was throwing that at us. I didn't even, I didn't have a cell phone. I didn't have no access to internet. I didn't know anything about. I wasn't into Bigfoot. This was in southeast Utah. Who would think Bigfoot's there?
You would have thought that it's
This is
in
the
every
desert,
state except for Hawaii, you know?
right? Right. So, and we stopped, and he had his light to this thing, and we seen this huge uh, eyes. There's another hill behind that hill. There's like multiple hills. So I thought the eye shine was coming from the mesa over yonder. So I was like, hey, that's probably a cougar that's on that mesa. And my whole family, they're frozen. Everyone's quiet. I was turning around, I was like, hey, I think it's a cougar on the other mesa. Everyone was like, they're frozen. They're just, looking at this thing. And I was staring at it. It was walking back and forth. It would stop, turn, look at us, and I was really watching it. And the reason why I thought it was a cougar or a bobcat, because how our eyes are facing forward,
Yeah.
and donkey, horse, all those guys' eyes is facing a little bit that way. So I know it was a predator right away, and it was giving off amber. Probably because the light. And I was like, well, this is weird because this sounds like a man, but it's not a man. And I was like, it's a
So you
skinwalker.
could
I'm
hear
not.
you could hear its footsteps.
Yeah. Oh no, no. Oh, man, there's a lot of things going on. I couldn't hear the footsteps. I can just hear that thing screaming and making
Oh, okay.
vocals and chattering, and your clothes is vibrating. You feel it, so making this noise. You feel your eardrum rattle, and you would feel the pressure of the vocalization, you know. And this
So
you got
so
a
do
lot
you
of things
think
going
do you
on.
think it was just the chatter was so loud that it was doing that, or do you think it was putting off infrasound?
And I don't know. I don't know about infrasound, but that sucker's loud as hell.
Okay. I'm just asking. I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, because I kept going. I kept going. I walked like about maybe 70 yards, maybe 100 yards to it. I was getting closer with each step. This thing was yelling, and not only like how our yell, we start out, then we go, you know what I mean? But this guy was yelling, and it was dragging on for longer than 20 seconds. And it wasn't getting quieter, it was getting louder. And, I was like, this is a skinwalker. I'll be back, guys, walking towards it each step. And this thing stopped pacing. And because the terrain's all red dirt everywhere. The reason why I thought it was on the other hill, because, everything was red. But I got closer. I got within about 30, 25, 20 yards, that close. This thing was yelling at me, doing its samurai chatter. I kept walking. I wasn't afraid. I was like, this is a person. This is a man. This is a woman doing his black magic thing. I'm not scared of you. I'm not afraid of you. I was saying that to myself. I'm not afraid of you. I'm gonna walk up to you. I'm gonna punch you. I'm gonna hit you in the sack. I'm not afraid of you. I had that going in my mind. But when I got to that 20-yard marker, I realized that it wasn't on the hill. It was 20 yards. And this thing was maybe 9 feet tall, and it was red hair, and it had no neck, and it had just a dome, and his eyes was probably as big as my fist.
Holy
Two
cow.
huge ass eyes, and his head, everything was proportioned to his size. His shoulder to shoulder was like 5 feet, man. Dude, this thing started going
Oh,
like this, and it did yell on that Ron Moorhead's vocalization. As it was doing the scary yell, it was going like this, waving back and forth like this, really fast, and he was you know, that stopped me right there. That stopped me in my tracks. It was
Yeah,
screaming.
I think it would. This is one of those times where you need depends. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, this was, it was amazing. And at the time, I didn't know it was Sasquatch. I had no idea it was Sasquatch. And so this
Wow.
thing stopped shaking like this. He stopped shaking his whole body. I think he had his hand up, like, I'm not sure. It was really dark that night, but the light, was on both of us. I could see his red hair, and he stopped yelling. And I was standing there. We were both staring at each other, and he was taking a step back. So there was a hill that separated us. I can see the upper portion of his torso, not the bottom of his torso. And he was taking a step back behind the hill, and the light from my uncle's flashlight that was casting on us, it was, I can see the heel. And he stopped where his eyes was. He was staring at me, and he went behind the hill.
Holy
It was
cow.
amazing. It was amazing. Absolutely amazing.
So being dark,
Uh,
you really couldn't make out a whole lot of detail, like in the face or anything, though.
Until I got close, yeah, I couldn't really make out the detail because his eyes was overpowering this, because
Gotcha.
it was reflecting back. Like, you ever see those reflectors? It was
Yeah.
bright, reflecting back from the flashlight, and it was amber. So I couldn't tell his face because it was giving off so much light back. But his
Gotcha.
head was domed. He had no neck. His had red hair.
Wow.
Yeah, 20 yards. You know,
That's
he's
too close. That is way too close.
yeah. I kept going. I kept going. I was determined to, I seen we all seen Scooby Doo. Like, that's what the Skinwalkers are. They all have the mask on, but they have black magic. So that's the whole deal. As my childhood growing up. This is just a man. This guy just knows hocus pocus. That's not gonna work on me. But it turns out it was Sasquatch. So he disappeared, and I turned around, went back to my family. Everyone's still standing still. Like deer in the headlights. The whole time I got back to them. I was trying to piece together what I'm gonna say, explain to them because this is my backyard. I know this land, I know everything that lives here. I got back to them. I lied. I said it's a bobcat. Let's keep going. So we continued on our hike, and we got into this wash, really narrow wash. It turned like a labyrinth, and I swear that thing was up on the hill because some rocks were sliding down. Rocks were coming down from the sides, and I was the only one panicking. It was internal. I was telling everyone, go ahead of me. I was the last one in the back. I let everyone get, like, I don't know, get ahead of me. I was standing there. I was like, whatever's coming, maybe it'll come into me right here. So I was standing there expecting something, but it was going around me. You can hear this thing move around, and you know we kind of got lost, and I got us lost because all these things were going through my mind, locking eyes, and like it unlocked a memory, an ancient memory of an ancient battle, like our old history, our old stories that we almost wiped out all the Sasquatches at one point. We were created side by side. One point in time, they almost ate us all. So we had two warriors went on the offensive that shot lightning through their arrow that chased them all into this deep canyon in the Grand Canyon. They were going to kill them all, but they let them live. There were a lot of different monsters. They allowed them to live. That's what we made our deal. The nights for you, days for us. That's where we made the deal with Sasquatch, the different Bigfoot beings. There's many of them. They all look different from each other.
Wow.
So our people knew that already. So that's what made my mind running to we have what is this that I seen, and it really did put it together, what I ran into. And I didn't find that out till I was like 28 years old. I was 18. 10 years I
Holy
found out
cow.
that. Yeah.
So you guys are lost in this wash.
Yeah, we're lost in this wash, and I got us unlost. We found a dirt road. The time was 3 o'clock around that time, and we're going back to the community. We can see the light pollution from that little community, and we let our guards down. I let my guard down. I was like, "Oh, okay, we're getting back to dirt road. All right, we're getting out of this." Because that area where we were at, everyone stays out of there because whenever someone goes there, they hear a lady screaming back there, like she's being killed. So everyone stays out of there. So it all correlates with Bigfoot, right? The smallest member, the youngest member, one of my cousins, he got ahead. You know, he got kind of careless. I was the first one, because I know the way, and he got like about 50 yards, I would say, ahead of us. He was walking fast. I think he just wanted to go home, and he turned the corner. The light was on all of us. He turned the corner. I looked down, looked up. He was right here. His eyes was about to pop out of his skull. His mouth was open. He was running towards me like how Woody looks like. How he's running. His legs and arms everywhere. Pure panic. He tackled me. Straight up tackled me. He was holding me, squeezing me. He was scared. I was telling him, "What's up? What's up? What happened? What did you see? What did you see? What did you see?" And he was screaming. He's yelling at me. He was holding me. He's like, "Don't let me go. Don't let me go. They're gonna get me." I was like, "What happened? What did you see? Tell me, tell me." I finally managed to calm him down, and he's like, "Ayana Loshi almost took me." In Navajo, that means skinwalker. And I was like, "What did it look like? What did it look like? Tell me." He said it looked like a huge orangutan running towards him on all four. And he said it was reaching out his hand to get him. And he turned around, he made his way back to us. And, I threw him off me. And I ran down that road where he came from. And I had another cousin, a year younger than me. He was 17. He was running with me, both of us. We ran that corner, and we ran into a wall of stench, man. A wall like a bo, oh, man, you name it, everything. It just made us stop and gag. And these rocks were sliding down from a hill to our left. We looked up. This is a huge hill. It goes up an impossible slant for you and I, because all these pebbles are slippery too. Little fine red pebbles everywhere. This guy was already at the top. My cousin
Wow.
seen him up there. Impossible.
Holy cow.
Yeah. And we all never spoke about that night until last year. I seen my relatives like, "Hey, you remember that night?" They're like, "Yeah." I was like, "That's Bigfoot." And everyone's jaw dropped and their eyes big. They're looking at each other. It's like, "That was Bigfoot." I know who that is finally. I was like, "I told you guys, I was like, I know I was gonna find out who that was. It took years, but you know,
I think that's a common reaction when you have a group of people who witness Bigfoot but like nobody's really believes in Bigfoot. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
They don't talk about it. It's like nobody wants to be the first one to say Bigfoot.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's
Wow.
my visual sightings. This guy's been always around us our whole life.
Well, let's hold on to some more stories for next time because
Okay.
we're at an hour 35 right now. So I think this is a good place to end this episode.
Okay. So,
Why don't you go ahead and tell everybody where they can find you?
oh, yeah, you can find me at Don't Whistle at Night podcast on the United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM out of New Orleans, or you can go to my YouTube channel. That's Don't Whistle at Night podcast, and my Facebook is Alele Nalka. I have my show live Sundays, 2 hour shows. See, it starts 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 12 o'clock Pacific Time, p.m. Central, p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Sunday. So, like and subscribe and join us. We have numerous guests. Most of our guests are from the Navajo Nation that have the same stories as I do, if not more scarier, if not more entertaining than I. They've seen fairies, we have a lot of goodies, a lot of things to unpack, just like my stories.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I said, I'm definitely going to have you back because
Oh yeah.
we didn't touch on hardly anything, I feel like. But the Skinwalker thing, man,
Yeah, that's some
that's just
ugly stuff.
terrifying.
Yeah,
Terrifying.
ugly. That's those are the ones you shoot first. You don't ask questions because they took a life to get that power.
Yeah. Wow. Well, Don, I really do appreciate you coming on tonight. We're definitely going to do some more. I might be able to make a whole season out of just your stories. And if I throw Rod into the mix, holy cow, I won't have any other guests.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't even get anywhere with Rod, man. I just barely got into the origin stories of our medicine men societies and how skinwalkers came, and
Yeah,
yeah,
we're gonna have a whole nother episode on that too. We're gonna have to.
yeah, that's
This stuff just fascinates me. So I've got to have you back on.
it's educational. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's everyone deserves a right to know this because we got a lot of misinformation out there thinking that the skinwalker is a cryptid, but no, he is not a cryptid. Whatever. Maybe whatever everyone's seeing is something else that's not a skinwalker because on the Navajo Nation we have a rake. It's a pale being, but his limbs are backwards. He likes to eat cattle. He'll drag a whole full-grown cattle into a cave and devour them at the mouth of the cave. So
Well,
we got that
after I
guy.
stop recording, stick around. I have
Okay.
something to tell you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So yeah, we got a lot of things running around, and yeah, so it's really educational and really informational, and we have fun as well, like here.
right, right. All right. Well, Don, once again, thanks for coming on the show. And if you have a paranormal encounter you'd like to share, you can email me at mythsandmullets@gmail.com. You can find me on Facebook. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe, like, comment, share. Tell a friend about the show. That's the only way I can grow. Until next time, I'll talk to you later. Gotta go.
Shadow in the pines lurking in the dusky air. Bigfoot stomps through the woods like he don't care. Lights in the sky flash green then blue. Aliens descending with a secret or two. Whispers in the breeze, cold fingers down your spine. Ghosts in the graveyard, twisting through time. Eyes wide open in the dead of night. The myths and monsters giving one hell of a fright. Oh, Myths, Monsters, and Mullets podcast, spinning wild tales of a future and a past. Hosted by John Methencamp's fiery soul. He takes us where the wild unknown flows. Oh, Myths, Monsters, and Mullets podcast, spinning wild tales of a future and a past. Hosted by John Methencamp's fiery soul. He takes us where the wild unknown flows. Down by the bayou, you hear a raspy growl. Swamp gas glowing as the coyotes howl. A UFO zipping just above the trees, grabbing hold of wonder like a southern summer breeze. Some call it crazy, others call it a lie. But listen real close as the truth passes by. The lines are blurry, the story as the coyotes howl. A UFO zipping just above the trees, grabbing hold of wonder like a southern summer breeze.